Greetings, sisters, and welcome back, I guess. So, last Christmas, I was gifted this book from my sister, the official Wonder Woman cookbook, and so decided for the show's anniversary this year to do a bit of a review. Now, this cookbook is broken into 4 sections: battle-ready breakfasts, Amazonian appetizers, sides, and snacks, mighty mains, and superhero sweets. So I have chosen one recipe from each of those sections, and we will go over them here. Okay, so the book starts out with an introduction, talking about Wonder Woman and how they tried to reflect the Mediterranean and Greek aspects of Themyscira in the dishes. It does point out that all the recipes are vegetarian, citing Diana's affinity with animals, which personally wasn't a selling point for me, but hey, if that's your thing, more power to you. Character-wise, I think you could probably make an argument either way. I mean, she is named after and usually worships the goddess of the hunt. And I suspect the ancient Greek Artemis didn't exactly practice catch and release. Anyway, for each recipe, of course, you've got a list of ingredients and instructions. Most, I think, have a photo, and then there is a short paragraph of flavor text for each, trying to link the recipe to Wonder Woman, which some are halfway successful and others basically just give it a cutesy name like Daughter of Zeus Breakfast Bowl or Powered by Pepper's Pasta. The worst one has to be the Artemis Ginger Cake, because you read it and it sounds like a clever reference to the red-headed Bonnie McDowell Amazon, only for the flavor text to then completely ruin it by talking about the goddess Artemis. Clearly, somebody didn't study their comic books close enough. Anyway, after the 4 recipe sections, there's a few pages listing some meal ideas, like, say, if you're going to have a Wonder Woman birthday party, here's the dishes we recommend. And then at the very back of the book is a stencil of the Wonder Woman logo meant for one of the cake recipes. So, to start with breakfast, we've got the Fruit of the Gods muffins, where you mix up the wet ingredients, butter, eggs, brown sugar, and buttermilk, and the dry ingredients, flour, baking powder, and baking soda, and spices, then combine thusly and add in chopped figs. Dish them out into lined muffin tins, bake at 375, and you're good to go. Next up was the Palace Athena popcorn, which was nice and simple. Just melt together a little butter, honey, and thyme, then pour it over some plain, fresh popped popcorn, and add a little salt. For the main dish, I actually put up a poll online, and the Fearless Philo Dough burritos just won out over the Feed the League pita bread nachos. So for this one, you cook up some onion, bell peppers, beans, and spinach, then scoop that onto layered sheets of phyllo dough brushed with olive oil. You then sprinkle the filling with black olives. I went with calamatas because they're much tastier, as well as feta and cilantro, which, fun fact, in Greg Rucka's first run, Diana actually talks about not liking cilantro, which, if I understand right, means that she has a certain gene that, for some people, makes it taste like soap. Anyway, to the surprise of no one who's read the title of this recipe, you then wrap the whole thing up like a burrito and bake it at 350 until the phyllo's done. They also included a recipe for a simple dipping sauce that's basically tzatziki, which roughly translated means garlicky yogurt cucumber sauce, with this one including dill and, of course, Greek yogurt. For the dessert, I mean, come on, how could I do anything other than Etta Candy's candy cookies? You start by creaming together butter and brown and white sugar, then add a bunch of peanut butter, the eggs, and vanilla. Then you've got to add the dry ingredients, flour, baking soda, and oats, before mixing in the candy. Chocolate chips, peanut butter chips, and, well, okay, if you're old enough, you may remember them as the candy of the new millennium, thanks to a coincidence of Roman numerals, but since neither Mars Inc. nor Marshall Mathers are paying me to say their name, I'm just going to refer to them as generic candy-coated chocolate buttons. Dish out the cookies onto a half-sheet pan and stick them in your chill chest for a few hours to get them solid enough to bake. Then once that's done, it's just 20 minutes at 350 and you will be ready to yell woo-woo. Okay, here everything is, so let's give it a try. I'm going to start with the muffin. Let's split that so we can see the cross section. pretty good. I'll give it a try here. The spice is a little lighter than I would like, but not bad. Figs are always tasty. Yeah, that would be probably a pretty good breakfast if you're on the run or something. Maybe a little dry. But then it's been a while since they were baked, so. Yeah, I think that bite had maybe one chunk of fig in it. Eating a whole muffin was much better when you had a bunch of them to boost the flavor and texture. I had a full one or two the next day at breakfast, and they were pretty solid. Okay, now on to the Palace Athena popcorn. I'm just gonna move it. It looks like popcorn. And the honey's a nice touch. Not really sure I taste the thyme. Yeah, it's almost like a kettle corn. It's fine, but nothing super spectacular. I did taste the thyme better when I had more of this later. It wasn't as sweet as kettle corn, and also, well, it wasn't sticky, but the honey definitely affected the feel of it as you were picking it up. It was fine to try, and I get wanting to add some kind of Greek flavor to popcorn, but yeah, this wasn't really something I ever feel the need to make again. Okay, now the big one. We've got the Philo burrito. Try to get a cross section here. There we go. Nice. Try to pick it up without falling apart. Oh, maybe. Sort of. Ish. The feta is nice and salty. Can't really taste the spinach, which in my book is a good thing. Let's go for some of the sauce. Yep, definitely tastes like tzatziki. Like like you would get at a Greek restaurant. So I ended up eating that burrito for dinner, and in the end, to be honest, the more I ate, the less I liked it. It was just kind of meh. I've never been a fan of cooked spinach, and while the sauce did help to give it some more flavor, I kind of thought that despite this being a vegetarian cookbook, it would have been a lot tastier to have some kind of meat in there. Maybe like souvlaki. And last, but definitely not least, the Etta Candy cookie. This is what I've been looking forward to. This thing is massive. I'm just gonna break off a piece because it's still warm. Got the chocolate, got the oats. Oh yeah. Well, that one absolutely takes the cake. That's amazing. Oh yeah, that's good. It's mostly peanut butter. There's barely any flour in there. But, oh, that's tasty. I got a whole tray of those that are calling my name for after this video's done, so. Get a bit with the candy piece here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Easily the best. Yeah, no, I've got nothing more to add. These were giant and delicious, and I'm both glad and disappointed that I only made a half recipe for this review. So, my overall review for this cookbook? There was no mention of Ferdinand the Minotaur Chef. 0 out of 5. Yeah, no, but seriously, the recipes were fine and the food was tasty, but the theming could have done with a little work. I get that Wonder Woman's a strange topic to base a cookbook around, not as obvious as something like Harry Potter or Star Trek, but stuff like Steve Trevor egg salad or the cheetah chickpea spread seemed pretty much random. I think I've mentioned this before, but trying to figure out what cuisine on Paradise Island would be like could actually be really interesting. I mean, obviously there'd be a heavy ancient Greek influence, but then you've also got to consider what the local agriculture would be. So if, say, we're putting the island in the Bermuda Triangle like it sometimes is, I'm sure someone could have a lot of fun developing a kind of, basically Mediterranean Caribbean fusion menu? That'd be really neat. Or even, I know I joked about him, but if you set up that this book was written by Ferdinand and had his notes in it about preparing the different dishes at the Themysciran Embassy, that would go a long way to improving both the theming and the immersion. But as it is, yeah, I'm going with 2 out of 5 stars on this one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks again to my sister for getting me this book. And until next time, remember, sisters, hopes may fade, but wonders never cease.